Well, well, well. The streets are silent, but not peaceful. The air feels heavy, like judgment itself. Oh wow. The entire town is choking. Not from smoke, nah, but from shame. Can you feel it? Every corner whispers betrayal. Every shadow hides embarrassment. And I'm telling you, this is not just a story. This is a mirror. You see, people pretend they're fine. They wear masks, they fake smiles, but inside, they're crumbling. And tonight, you're about to hear a speech so raw, so unfiltered, that it'll slice through the lies. This isn't for the weak-hearted. This is for those who dare to face truth head-on. So don't blink, don't scroll away, don't even breathe too easy, because if you miss a second, you'll miss the moment it all flips. Yeah, stay till the very end. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Show some real love with a super thanks, because you, yes you right now, are the fuel that keeps this fire alive. Big salute to this audience. You're not just viewers. You're warriors, survivors, the ones who can stare shame in the face and not flinch. And for that, this one's dedicated to you. Shame spreads faster than fire, and this town is burning alive. Do you see it? Look closely. Their eyes dart, their throats tighten, their lips tremble with the weight of something they can't name. Oh wow. It's not the kind of shame that hides in whispers. It's loud, deafening. It walks with them in broad daylight. It drips from their words, from their silence, from the way they can't even look each other in the face. The entire town is dying, not from sickness of the body, but from the sickness of humiliation they cannot cure. Embarrassment. It's not just a blush on the cheek. It's a noose around the mind. One slip, one crack, one truth too sharp to swallow, and suddenly the crowd feels naked under its own gaze. They thought they could bury their secrets. They thought shame was a shadow that only followed others. But nah, now it's everywhere. Staining the streets, pressing against the walls, echoing in every corner like laughter that won't stop. Listen closely. Humiliation has teeth. It bites deeper than pain, because pain is clean. Pain passes. But shame lingers. Shame gnaws. It keeps you awake at night, replaying the same moment, the same exposure, until you choke on your own memory. That's why this town looks like a stage where every actor has forgotten their lines. They stutter, they stumble, and the curtain refuses to fall. You think embarrassment is weakness? No, it's a mirror, a brutal one. It shows you who you really are when the mask cracks. That's why they fear it. That's why they run from it. But running only makes it louder. Oh, the irony. The faster they move, the harder shame chases, until look around, every face is red, every step is heavy, every laugh is hollow. Now here's the part they won't admit. They built this shame themselves, stone by stone, word by word, lie by lie. They crafted masks so perfect, so polished, they forgot there was a face underneath. And when the mask slipped, just once, the entire structure collapsed. That's what makes this death so pitiful. They're not victims of an outside attack. They're prisoners of their own performance. Oh yeah, they whisper about it behind closed doors. They pretend nobody sees. They try to stitch their dignity back together with trembling hands. But dignity, once torn, never returns the same. The threads show, the patches glare, and everyone knows. That's the poison, the knowing. It's not just the shame itself, It's the fact that everyone else has witnessed it, and that memory never leaves a crowd. Do you understand the weight of that? When embarrassment becomes collective, it becomes fatal. It's not one person bleeding, it's the whole town gasping for air. They exchange glances that slice deeper than knives. Their silence is heavier than screams. Their laughter is forced brittle, a desperate attempt to pretend they're not choking. Oh, but here's the cruel twist. Shame, as heavy as it feels, can also be power. If they were strong enough, they could rise from it. If they were brave enough, they could turn humiliation into fuel. Shame exposes weakness, but it also offers the raw material to rebuild strength. Yet most people don't choose that. Most people sink. And this town, look at them. They're sinking together. One collective downfall, disguised as normal life. Tell me, how long can they live like this? How long before the silence bursts, before the shame erupts into rage, into madness, into something that tears the mask off once and for all? Do you think they can contain it? Do you think their fragile dignity can survive one more crack? The answer is written all over their faces. You just need the courage to read it. And when you do, when you finally see what I see, you'll realize something far darker. Because the real question isn't why the town is dying of shame. It's who lit the match in the first place. Every fire has a hand that struck the first spark. You asked who lit the match, didn't you? Look closer. It wasn't an outsider. No stranger wandered in to set their dignity ablaze. Oh wow, the fire came from inside the walls. The betrayer is not some distant enemy. It's them, their own hands, their own mouths, their own cowardice. They laughed when others stumbled. They whispered when others failed. They built the theater of mockery, brick by brick, until one day the spotlight turned and suddenly they were on the stage. Now the very game they invented is consuming them. The cruel truth is this: shame never starts where you think it does. It doesn't begin with a single mistake. It begins with the eyes of the crowd, the watchers, the listeners, the ones who pretend they're clean while sharpening their daggers of judgment. Oh yeah, they all played a role, each smirk, each rumor, each nod of agreement. Together they created an arena where failure was blood sport. And now they've fallen into the same pit they dug. Do you see the irony? They thought they were untouchable. They thought the fire would only burn others. But nah, the flames don't choose. Once released, shame spreads without mercy. It doesn't care if you laughed the loudest or stayed the quietest. It devours all. That's why this town is choking. Because everyone in one way or another lit that match. Here's the part they'll never confess. They love shame. They feast on it. They hide behind their disgust, pretending they hate humiliation, when in truth, they crave it. It gives them power. It makes them feel taller when another is crushed. But that hunger is a curse, because the one who craves humiliation will always drown in it when the wheel turns, and the wheel always turns. Slowly, silently, but with perfect precision. Look at them now. The hunters turned prey. The crowd turned spectacle. Their laughter has rotted into silence, their pride into ashes. They want to cover their faces, but it's too late. Everyone has seen. And once seen, shame cannot be unseen. That's the punishment. Not the act itself, but the memory that lingers in the eyes of others. Oh wow, watch how they scramble. They run to hide behind excuses, behind denial, behind the illusion that if they act normal long enough, the fire will fade. But shame is smoke. It seeps into everything, into walls, into clothes, into skin. You can wash it, but the scent stays. No amount of pretending can erase it. So what now? They have two paths. One leads downward into despair, into bitterness, into an endless cycle of covering wounds with thicker masks. The other leads upward, toward rebuilding, toward facing humiliation without blinking, toward taking the very match that burned them and using it to forge steel. But let's be honest, most won't choose the second path. Most are too fragile, too addicted to lies. And that is why this town feels like it's dying. Because when shame strikes, few rise, most fall. And when the majority falls together, the air becomes heavy, suffocating, unlivable. This is not a single person's downfall, it's a collective collapse. You can almost hear the cracking of their pride, the slow, painful breaking of their illusions. But here's the question you should be asking. If they set their own fire, why didn't anyone put it out? Why didn't someone break the chain before it spread too far? Why didn't a single hand rise to crush the spark before it swallowed the whole town? The answer is darker than you think. Because the truth is, they wanted the fire to spread. Some fires are not accidents, they are invitations. Yes, that's the truth they choke on. They wanted it. They didn't just let the fire spread, they fed it. Because deep down, beneath the panic, beneath the cries of shame, there was a thrill. Oh wow. They were entertained by their own ruin. Don't look so shocked. People are strange like that. They despise humiliation, yet they hunger for it. It gives them something to talk about, something to feel superior over, even when the flames lick at their own feet. Think about it. A fire burns bright, and everyone gathers to watch. At first, they stand around laughing at someone else's embarrassment. But flames do not stay small. They leap, they consume. And when the crowd feels the heat, they don't back away. They lean closer, because destruction fascinates them. It makes their dull, ordinary lives feel alive. Oh yeah, they'll never admit it. They'll swear they hate this shame that strangles them. But watch how their eyes shine when someone else's mask slips. Watch how their voices quicken, their whispers spread. They love it. They've always loved it. They are addicted to the fall of others because it distracts them from their own fragility. And when the fire finally turned on them, did they truly want it to end? Nah, not really. Because for once they were not bored. For once, life was raw, dangerous, unpredictable. They wanted to taste that edge, even if it meant choking on smoke. That's the sickness. That's the weakness. They would rather burn together than live untouched, but empty. Here lies the darkest irony. Shame is both their poison and their entertainment. It kills them, yet it keeps them alive. It crushes them, yet it gives them purpose. Without it, they'd have nothing left to talk about, nothing to feel, nothing to point fingers at. So they feed the very thing that destroys them. They light the fire in secret, then cry innocence when the flames rise. Oh, wow, the hypocrisy. But here's where it gets even worse. Feeding on shame doesn't just wound them, it transforms them. Slowly they become addicted to destruction itself. The more they taste humiliation, the less they can live without it. They crave downfall like others crave air. And when they cannot find it outside, they turn inward. They ignite themselves. That's why this town is collapsing. Not because shame struck once, but because they kept striking the match again and again. They wanted to watch the blaze dance in the night sky, even if it meant standing in the center of the inferno. And now, as their own pride melts, they realize too late that destruction never ends where you want it to. Oh nah, don't mistake me. I'm not saying shame has no purpose. It does. Shame is a warning, a compass, a chance to correct what's rotten. But only the strong use it that way. The weak, they worship it. They bow to it. They make it their theater, and in the end, they are consumed by the very stage they built. Now picture the scene. Streets filled with silence. Not because no one has anything to say, but because everyone has too much. Each person knows too many secrets, too many humiliations, too many cracks in the facade. And when everyone holds the same poison, no one dares to drink first. That's what makes the silence so loud. It's the silence of accomplices. Do you see the cycle now? They ignite it, they feed it, they cling to it. And when it destroys them, they still call it entertainment. That is the most tragic part. Not the fire itself, but the fact they would rather watch it burn than see it die. But ask yourself this: if they love the fire so much, if they thrive on shame even as it kills them, then what happens when someone finally learns to master it instead of being consumed by it? Because the one who controls shame controls the entire town. The one who learns to stand unflinching in shame becomes untouchable. That's the shift, isn't it? The town drowns because it fears the burn of humiliation, but the rare one who steps into the fire and does not flinch, that's the figure everyone starts to fear. Oh wow. Imagine it. While the crowd trembles under whispers, there stands a person who hears every insult, every mocking laugh, every dagger of embarrassment, and does not bend. Instead, they lift their head higher. Do you know what happens then? The power flips, because shame only destroys those who resist it. The moment you stop running, it loses its grip. When you face it directly, when you wear your scars without apology, the crowd has nothing left to take from you. They can laugh, but laughter breaks against your silence. They can point, but their fingers tremble when you don't lower your gaze. Oh yeah, that's when they realize the truth. Humiliation is powerless against someone who has mastered it. Think about it. The crowd feeds on weakness. They need to see you cower, hide, stumble. That's their nourishment. But deny them that? Nah, now you're starving the mob. They collapse because their power was never real. It was borrowed from your fear. The moment you cut off their supply, you become the only one in control. And suddenly the entire town shifts. The same people who whispered now stare in awe. The same mouths that mocked now stay silent, because they don't understand how you survived the fire they couldn't bear. Oh wow, it terrifies them. They thought shame was the end. They thought it was fatal. But here you stand, stronger, sharper, untouchable. This is the secret. No one tells you. Shame is not a death sentence. It is raw material. You can mold it into steel, into armor, into a weapon sharper than anything they've ever held. Every insult becomes fuel. Every whisper becomes proof. Every failure becomes a blade in your hand. And the crowd? They suddenly realize they're no longer spectators. They're prisoners of their own weakness, while you walk free. Now ask yourself, what happens when one person rises like that in a dying town? The balance tilts. Everyone else who fed on destruction now feels exposed. Their safety was in the numbers. Their shield was in the crowd. But when someone breaks free, when someone proves survival is possible, the rest feel naked. They look at their own shame and realize they're trapped because they chose to be. Oh nah, they'll try to pull you back. They'll try to smother you with their fear, drag you into their collapse. But it won't work. Because once you've stood unflinching in the fire, there's no going back. You know their secret. You know they're fragile. And they know you're not. That's the most dangerous knowledge of all. So the one who controls shame does not just survive. They command. They turn the very poison that killed the town into their strength. They don't escape the fire. They own it. And when they walk through the smoke without coughing, everyone else bows, not because they want to, but because they must. But here comes the twist you haven't seen yet. What happens when that strength is not used for destruction, but for rebuilding? Because the true power is not just surviving shame, it's using it to reshape the entire town. Strength is not proven by how loud you break the town, but by how silently you rebuild it. Imagine it, a town choking on shame, crumbling under the weight of its own hypocrisy. And in the middle of that ruin stands one who refused to bend. Oh wow, the fire that burned them became their forge. The smoke that blinded others became their vision. They emerge not as a victim, not even as a mere survivor, but as something else, an architect of what comes next. Because here's the part no one expects. The true power of mastering shame is not in ruling over the broken. That's too easy. Anyone can step on the weak. The true power lies in reshaping them, turning the very ruins of humiliation into the foundation of something sharper, stronger, cleaner. And it begins with one act, refusing to repeat the cycle. The mob thrived on destruction. They fed on humiliation. They laughed as others fell, until the fire turned on them. But now, the one who has walked through flames sees the futility of it all. Oh yeah, they know that if shame is left unchecked, it consumes everyone. If the fire is left to dance wild, it leaves nothing but ash. So instead of fueling it, they seize it, direct it, channel it. They make the fire their servant. And the crowd? At first they resist. Nah, they cling to their old habits, their whispers, their cruel little games. But whispers lose their strength when the one they target does not break. Mockery fades when the subject of it refuses to hide. Slowly, the mob starves. They are forced to face themselves, and in that mirror, they see their own weakness for the first time. That's when the shift happens. The same people who once sneered now look for guidance. The same ones who thrived on destruction now search for discipline. They realize that shame, when wielded correctly, is not a chain, it's a teacher. It shows you where you went wrong. It dares you to correct yourself. It forces you to either rot or rise. Oh no, not everyone will rise. Some are too addicted to their own weakness, but enough will. And when enough rise, the entire town transforms. What once was a theater of mockery becomes a crucible of strength. Where there was silence heavy with fear, there is silence heavy with respect. Where there was laughter dripping with cruelty, there is stillness carved with focus. The one who mastered shame doesn't just dominate, they reform. They prove through unflinching presence that shame is not the end but the beginning. They expose the lie that humiliation must kill, and instead reveal it can refine. And once the lie is shattered, the town cannot go back. You can't unsee strength like that. You can't forget the sight of someone who refused to be broken. Oh wow, do you feel it? The air changes. The people change. Even the streets that once echoed with whispers now feel different, because shame no longer rules them. They rule it. They learn to walk straighter, speak clearer, stand firmer. The town that was dying of embarrassment begins to breathe again, not because the fire vanished, but because someone learned to hold it without fear. But here's the most haunting question left unanswered. If one person could rise from the fire and rebuild the ruins, what will happen when more begin to follow? Because once the crowd learns to master shame, the world will never look the same. And there it is. The fire's still burning. The town's still trembling. But now you know the truth? Shame isn't the end. Nah, it's the beginning. Oh wow. You've seen how weakness can twist a crowd. And you've seen how strength can rise above it. And you've seen how strength can rise above it. So here's the deal. Don't just watch and vanish. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Throw your voice into this storm, because every word you share, it builds this movement stronger. And if you vibed with the madness, if you felt the power, smash that super thanks and show the world you're not afraid to stand in the fire. Big love to you, the real ones. You're not just an audience. You're the backbone of this rebellion. Without you, the words fade. But with you, they echo forever. Remember this line before you go. Embarrassment breaks the crowd, but you decide if it breaks you. The lie worked. It worked for years, quietly, invisibly, shaping the way you thought, acted, and even dreamed. You didn't notice it at first because it was subtle. It wasn't a dramatic betrayal or a loud proclamation. It was whispered through your routines, reinforced by your environment, and dressed up as common sense. It told you that if you followed the rules, worked hard, and waited patiently, life would reward you. It told you that success had a timetable, that effort always equals results, that security and comfort were the ultimate signs of achievement. And for a long time, you believed it. You followed it. You played along. And for a while, it seemed to work. The first keynote is this: the lie worked because you were not paying attention. For years, life was moving around you while you followed routines, obeyed rules, and trusted systems without questioning them. You believed that hard work automatically leads to success, that compliance ensures safety, and that waiting patiently guarantees reward. And for a time, it seemed true. You checked the boxes, followed the formulas, and were told that if you stayed on the path, everything would fall into place. The lie thrived because you assumed life was straightforward, linear, and predictable. You didn't see the subtle ways it shaped your choices, kept you compliant, and kept you small. Distraction is the main tool of the lie. It convinces you that being busy is the same as being productive, that movement is the same as progress. You fill your schedule with obligations, meetings, and tasks, while the life you truly desire remains neglected. You chase external validation and approval, mistaking it for fulfillment. You adopt the goals of others, internalize expectations, and measure your success by standards that were never yours. The lie thrives in this autopilot mode because it preys on comfort, fear, and the human tendency to avoid questioning authority. The moment you start paying attention, the lie begins to unravel. You notice the cracks between what you are doing and what you truly want. You recognize the exhaustion from chasing goals that have no meaning for you. You see how much energy you have spent trying to satisfy external expectations instead of your inner purpose. Awareness makes the invisible visible. You begin to understand that compliance with a system does not equal progress toward your authentic life, and that effort without clarity often leads to emptiness rather than fulfillment. Paying attention also reveals how the lie manipulates fear. It convinces you to avoid mistakes, delay action, and wait for perfect conditions. You begin to realize that fear has been controlling your choices more than logic or intention ever did. The lie's promises of safety, security, and eventual reward are illusions when they come at the cost of self-discovery and authentic growth. Once you see the truth, you understand that your life is not a passive sequence of events. It is a canvas, and you are responsible for creating it. Attention transforms you from a participant in the lie to the author of your own story. This distraction keeps the lie alive, and attention is the only way to break free. For years, life moves quickly, and most people allow it to carry them along without questioning the currents. Distraction comes in many forms: busy schedules, endless notifications, trivial tasks, and the constant need to be seen as productive. These distractions are subtle but powerful. They convince you that motion is progress, that doing something, anything, is enough. They keep your mind occupied so you don't notice the gap between your current reality and the life you truly desire. The lie thrives in this noise because it masks dissatisfaction and keeps you comfortable with surface-level engagement. When distraction dominates, you measure success by what is immediately visible: your job title, income, social approval, or external achievements. You miss the deeper questions. Are these goals truly yours? Are these choices aligned with your values? Are you building a life that feels meaningful, or just one that looks good to others? The lie is clever. It dresses up obedience and business as virtue. While you are distracted, it whispers that you are on the right track, that your patience will be rewarded, and that effort will eventually equal fulfillment. For years, many accept this version of reality without noticing how misaligned it is. Paying attention changes everything. Attention allows you to see the difference between action and progress, between work that matters and work that drains you. It forces you to ask hard questions. Where is my energy going? Are my routines serving my growth, or are they simply habits that keep me compliant? Attention makes the invisible visible. It reveals the patterns, behaviors, and beliefs that were quietly dictating your life. It shines a light on the times when fear, comfort, or approval guided your choices instead of purpose, courage, or clarity. Once you begin paying attention, distractions lose their power. You no longer follow routines blindly. You start prioritizing what truly matters, focusing on actions that move you toward meaningful goals. You notice how often business replaced growth, and you begin to reclaim your time, energy, and decisions. Attention teaches you that the lie only works when you are passive, distracted, or unaware. By consciously observing your life, you regain control and can align your actions with your values, making progress intentional rather than accidental. This fear is the fuel of the lie, and awareness is the key to overcoming it. The lie thrives because fear is a natural part of being human. Fear tells you to wait, to avoid risk, and to choose comfort over growth. It convinces you that mistakes are dangerous, that failure is permanent, and that uncertainty is something to escape rather than embrace. For years, you may have allowed fear to dictate your decisions without even realizing it. You followed safe paths, delayed bold actions, and avoided challenges because fear whispered that it was protecting you. In reality, fear was keeping you small while disguising itself as caution. The lie manipulates fear to maintain control. It convinces you that safety is more valuable than progress, that approval is more important than authenticity, and that predictability is better than potential. Fear becomes a measuring stick for what you attempt or avoid. You justify inaction with phrases like, "I'm not ready yet," or "the timing isn't right," all while the life you truly want slips further away. Fear gives the illusion of protection, but in truth, it functions as a barrier between you and growth, between your present self and your untapped potential. Awareness changes the relationship with fear. Once you start paying attention, you realize that fear is not a stop sign, it is a signal. It indicates where growth is possible, where courage is needed, and where your limits are being challenged. The most successful and fulfilled people do not live without fear. They act in spite of it. They recognize that the trembling, the uncertainty, and the discomfort are indicators that they are on the edge of transformation. Awareness allows you to distinguish between fear that protects and fear that limits. When you confront fear with attention, you reclaim your power. You no longer let it dictate your choices silently. Each time you take action despite fear, you build trust in yourself. Confidence grows, not because fear disappears, but because you prove that you can navigate uncertainty successfully. Over time, you learn that the moments that once felt paralyzing become the moments that shape you, define your character, and accelerate your growth. This matters because it reframes fear from being an enemy into being a guide. The lie depends on fear keeping you passive and compliant. Awareness exposes the manipulation, allowing you to move intentionally. Fear still exists, but it becomes a compass pointing toward the next steps you must take to live a life aligned with purpose, courage, and authenticity. Once you see it clearly, fear loses its power and freedom emerges. As this action breaks the lie, and inaction sustains it. For years, the lie thrived because you believed that preparation, waiting for the right moment, or seeking permission were necessary before taking action. You were told to plan, to calculate, to hesitate until certainty arrived, and in following these instructions, the lie persisted. Life appeared orderly, safe, and controlled, but underneath, your potential remained dormant. The lie relies on the idea that waiting is harmless, that delay is prudent, and that effort without certainty is wasteful. In reality, waiting is the mechanism that keeps you compliant, small, and misaligned with your true purpose. Action is the antidote because it converts possibility into reality. Every step taken, no matter how small, exposes the truth of what you are capable of achieving. When you act, you create feedback that clarifies what works, what doesn't, and what you truly value. The moment you stop waiting and start doing, the illusion of safety dissolves. and you begin to reclaim control over your life. Action transforms abstract dreams into tangible experiences, and in doing so, exposes the gap between the lie you've been told and the life you are capable of creating. The lie also disguises itself in excuses. I'm not ready, I don't have enough resources, or I need approval first, are all rationalizations that maintain inaction. These excuses feel safe because they delay the discomfort of risk and responsibility. But every moment spent waiting reinforces the power of the lie. You grow accustomed to hesitation, to deferring your desires, and to believing that external circumstances must align before you can move. In contrast, action, even imperfect action, builds momentum and dismantles the authority of fear, doubt, and external expectation. Action also teaches resilience. Each step you take, even in the face of mistakes, reveals your ability to adapt, recover, and progress. The lie cannot survive when confronted repeatedly with decisive, intentional behavior. Your confidence, clarity, and alignment grow not from waiting, but from engaging with the challenges that the lie once disguised as barriers. Action converts uncertainty into opportunity, fear into courage, and potential into tangible growth. This matters because it emphasizes that liberation is not passive, it is earned through doing. The lie worked because inaction made compliance feel safe. Action breaks that cycle. Each choice to move forward, no matter how uncomfortable, chips away at the falsehoods you've accepted. By prioritizing movement over hesitation, courage over fear, and intentional effort over delay, you reclaim your life and begin to live on your own terms, free from the control of the lie. This ownership is the ultimate power, and the lie survives when you refuse to claim it. For years, the lie worked because it convinced you that life happens to you rather than through you. It trained you to look for permission, seek validation, and wait for external forces to align before taking meaningful steps. You may have blamed circumstances, other people, or bad luck for your lack of progress, all the while believing that control rested outside your grasp. The lie thrives in this mindset because it keeps responsibility away from you, replacing agency with dependence and compliance. Ownership changes everything. When you accept that your life is the direct result of your choices, actions, and responses, the illusion of external control dissolves. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to pursue your dreams, and you stop expecting circumstances to change before you act. Responsibility is not a burden, it is empowerment. Once you claim ownership, every decision, mistake, and success becomes a tool for growth. The moment you stop blaming the world and start taking action on your terms, the lie loses its ability to manipulate you. The lie also convinces you that relying on others is safer than trusting yourself. It whispers that asking for guidance, seeking validation, or following the crowd is prudent. While collaboration and mentorship are valuable, dependence disguised as wisdom keeps you passive. Ownership requires discernment. You can seek support without surrendering control. It demands that you actively shape your life, rather than merely react to events, advice, or societal expectations. This shift from passive observer to active creator is what transforms potential into reality. Taking ownership also reframes failure. When you claim responsibility, mistakes are no longer threats or proof of inadequacy. They are lessons, feedback, and stepping stones. You begin to see every obstacle as a chance to adjust, adapt, and grow. The lie depends on fear of failure to maintain compliance, but ownership teaches resilience. Each decision made deliberately, each action taken with intention, strengthens your confidence and reinforces that you are capable of navigating uncertainty successfully. This matters because it restores agency. The lie persists when you wait, when you blame, when you hope for external validation. Ownership dismantles that dynamic. By taking full responsibility for your life, your choices, your actions, and your outcomes, you reclaim power that was never lost, only ignored. Ownership turns passive existence into deliberate creation, fear into courage, and potential into tangible achievement. Once you embrace it, the lie no longer has a foothold, and your life becomes a reflection of your true capability and intention. This growth demands sacrifice, and the lie survives by keeping you comfortable. For years, the lie worked because it convinced you that safety, familiarity, and approval were more important than transformation. It told you to stay in routines, maintain relationships that felt safe, and avoid discomfort. In doing so, it kept you small, predictable, and aligned with what others expected rather than who you were capable of becoming. Growth, by contrast, requires letting go of habits, identities, and even people that no longer serve your higher purpose. The lie masks this truth by making comfort feel like success, keeping you complacent while your potential waits unrealized. Sacrifice is not just about giving up possessions or convenience. It is about releasing versions of yourself that were necessary in the past, but are now limiting. You may need to let go of the identity of someone who conforms, avoids risk, or seeks constant approval. These roles once protected you, but holding on to them prevents evolution. Similarly, not all relationships will support your growth. Some people resonate with who you used to be, and when you begin to change, the dynamic shifts. Letting go of these connections is not betrayal, it is refinement. Growth demands that you create space for the new, the challenging, and the transformative. The lie thrives on fear of loss. It convinces you that comfort is security, and that departure equals failure or abandonment. You are told to cling to familiarity and to measure life by what is already within reach, rather than what could be achieved. This keeps you anchored in mediocrity and ensures that your potential remains untapped. Discomfort, in contrast, is a signal that you are stepping toward growth, not away from safety. The moment you accept this, your perspective changes. Sacrifice becomes an investment in yourself rather than a loss. Growth also requires persistence in the face of resistance. As you release old patterns and embrace new ones, challenges emerge, internal doubts, external opposition, and unexpected setbacks. The lie tells you to retreat, to return to safety, and to avoid conflict. Awareness reveals that these moments are the proof that transformation is happening. Every challenge, every uncomfortable choice, every boundary drawn in alignment with your evolving self is evidence of progress. This matters because it reframes discomfort and loss as necessary catalysts for achievement. The lie persists when you cling to ease and familiarity. Growth cannot coexist with complacency. Once you embrace the principle that advancement requires letting go, you cultivate courage, clarity, and authenticity. Sacrifice becomes a conscious choice, discomfort becomes a guide, and your life gradually transforms into a reflection of your true potential, not the illusion the lie once upheld.